What's up guys? Today I'm excited to announce that Bryton has a new radar tail light called the Gardia R300L. In this video we're going to go over the specs and also give you my first impressions on how it works. Alright, here it is. This is the Bryton Gardia R300L rear view radar and tail light. Quick unboxing of it. Obviously this is to compete with the Garmin Varia radar. Alright, so these are just the different mounts for the different types of seat posts. So the Aero seat post, more of a flat seat post, probably like a defuse type seat post. Alright, so there it is, the radar there from Bryton. Looks pretty sweet. Let's see if we can turn it on. That's pretty sweet. It has some lights down here at the bottom, some kind of indicators there, and then we have the different modes you can go through as well. So pretty sweet. Has a rechargeable cable here on the back. You can see this is the USB-C style rechargeable port there. And then this is the mount. I like that. It's kind of rubbery, flexible. And then what you can do is it looks like you can, that's pretty sweet. You can put those in there, locks in there nice and secure. So if you do have like an Aero seat post, see, I'm doing the wrong side. Oh, that's the right side. So if you have an Aero seat post, you can put it in there. Oh, there we go. All right, fits perfectly. That's very nice. It seems like it's be very secure here. It's already tight there without even a seat post on it. So it's definitely going to be a nice secure fit. We have the Garmin there. We have the Magine, which I've been testing and using for a long time. We have the Bryton. So you can see the difference there between the sizes. The Bryton is a little bit more of a rectangle type shape. Maybe a hair larger than the others. Thickness wise, very similar thickness. You can see there too, the Magine. So update on the mounting, the quarter turn system on this. And I really thought this was going to be the same as the Magine, which I had showed you before, but it actually is ever so slightly different, unfortunately. You can see the Bryton, it's a little smaller here. The Magine is a little larger here. And then if you look at the sides of it, you can see that the Bryton is a little thicker than the Magine. The Magine is essentially the same as a Garmin, but it's just clocked the different way. Same thickness and everything. The Bryton, it has its own mounting system. So this here is a Garmin. I've tried that with the Garmin. It doesn't work. It doesn't go into there. Where the Magine, it goes into the Garmin fine, but that once again, that's going to be crooked on your bike or sideways. So, and then with the Bryton system here, it's a little deeper inside of there. I don't know if you can see it with the light or anything, but it's a little deeper in there. So you cannot interchange the mounts between any of the other lights, unfortunately. But I will say that this one will probably be a little more secure, being a deeper cut into here, so that way it won't actually rattle loose. When it is on here, it is extremely solid. It doesn't move or anything. So very nicely well made there. All right, so let's look at the specs between the Gardia versus the Varia RTL from Garmin. You can see the MSRP here for the Bryton is $129.95 USD. The Garmin is $199.99 USD, and that's the price at the recording of this video. So those prices could change, obviously. Let's go through some of the tech specs here. You can see the radar range for the Bryton is actually higher than the Garmin. It's 190 meters, which is 207 yards, where the Garmin is 140 meters. Now, in my experience, when I first rode with the Bryton, it did seem like it was detecting cars much further away than the Garmin. I didn't have a legit test going on, but just off of my sensing, I could tell that the cars were being detected a little quicker. I did ride with a friend of mine who also had a Garmin next to me, and when that happened, the Bryton actually was, it wasn't reading correctly for some reason, but then Bryton sent me a firmware update. I did that, and that resolved that issue. So for whatever reason, when it was next to the Garmin, it was having some issues detecting the cars at the same time.
But that is pretty well known with radar units, that if they are side by side and you're trying to compare them, it's not always accurate because they can interfere with one another. So it's really hard to get a side by side comparison. But I will say the Bryton is detecting cars quicker. Now, water rating, obviously IPX7, they're both the same there. You also have ANT Plus and Bluetooth enabled. Now, a few other little added on things with the Bryton. You have the gyroscope sensor, which is the braking detection. So if you do hit the brakes and you have that feature on in the app, it actually, the brake light will lighten up or brighten up. The Magene has this as well. Garmin does not. Also an LED indicator, which I think is pretty sweet with the LED indicator. That's at the strip of lights at the bottom, and I'll show you in the next slide what that does. It actually gives you an indication of your battery life and things like that. So now, as far as your specs here, viewing range, cars can see you from 1.6 kilometers behind you on both units. They both have a viewing angle of 220 degrees. The battery life looks very good on paper here. I know before they had some claims of some really good battery life back in one of the previous, I think it was Eurobike or something like that last summer. But the newer list of hours looks much more realistic, and I will say that they still look really good. So as you can see here at the beginning, it has 20 lumens solid high is 8 hours, 5 lumens solid low is 12 hours. And then you have 12 lumens group ride, that's 11 hours, 12 lumens night flash, that's 17 hours. The one that I really use the most is the bottom one, and that's the 73 lumens day flash. So this is very bright. This gets the attention of the cars and everything like that. So you get 17 hours on that, which is huge. If you look over at the Garmin next to it, you see it has 65 lumens day flash, and that's 16 hours. So it's not as bright and a little bit less running time, according to Bryton, obviously. I have not tested these yet myself out in the real world, so I'm just going off of what the specs of what Bryton is claiming at this point. I would probably say that they are pretty accurate, especially since they don't seem out of this world as far as the hours and everything. So supposedly it's a little brighter and lasts a little longer than the Garmin. Dimensions here are pretty similar. We went over that video already. The weight, it says 66 grams. I weighed it, it was 69 grams, so it was only 3 grams more. The Garmin 71 grams, and that is, my Garmin was 72 grams, so maybe it's my scale, I don't know. But either way, it's really close in weight between these three. The Magene is the lightest one, and the Magene was 64 grams. So, once again, you're looking at 5 to 8 grams difference between all of them. Okay, one of the cool features about this unit here is the little LED lights at the bottom of it, and it actually communicates some things to you. As you see, if it's green, you're going to have 50% to 100% battery life left if it's slowly flashing. If it's flashing green, obviously, if it's charging, you got it plugged in. If it's solid green, it means it's fully charged. You can unplug it and it's ready to use. If you do have a yellow light, you have 15 to 50% battery life left. And if you have red, there's a few things here. If it's slowly flashing, then you have less than 15%. So if it's flashing red 3 times, is very low battery and basically won't turn on. Solid red, an error has occurred and you may need to restart the device. So that means something serious is going on. Also notice too, it does have a low power mode when it's less than 15%. So that will actually be enabled automatically to save your battery as much as possible, so that way you can get home. It also does have a blue light as well. As you see here, this is the devices in smart mode and can be controlled by the app or any kind of devices you're using.
If you do have to update the firmware on the Bryton Gardia, they do have an app for it. Now, just as a heads up, they have several apps. So be sure when you go to the app store, you are picking the actual Gardia app here. So, because they do have a couple other apps as well, but this app is specifically designed for the radar here. So we're going to turn on the radar. So that get you there. All right, so as you see here, it says it's searching for the light. All right, it says it is connected. All right, so as you see, as soon as it connects, it will tell you right here, new firmware available. So click update. So you see here, it says firmware downloaded successfully. It'll automatically reboot the system. Press OK. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get it on the bike. I'll do some test riding with it. All right, so I finished my first ride with this. Worked really well on the first day. I had a few false positives, but it wasn't horrible. I will do more rides obviously in the future and get a longer term review on it, but the initial thoughts on it are very good, detecting the cars. The light situation here, you have several options right there. Turn the button once, no light at all. Press it there, you have a solid light. Press it there, and it's just a little bit dimmer, so it lasts longer. Press it again, it has a pulse light. Press it again, and then you have your flashing light there. This is probably my favorite setting. This is what gets the driver's attention when they're behind you the most. So, and that one flashes there just a little bit differently than the other one. Click it again, and once again, the light's off. Now, I really do like their mount here. It's very, very secure compared to some of the other mounts for the competitors out there. So it's really holding it on very well. This is solid in the mount. So you can see as I'm moving the light, you know, it's taking a decent amount of force to do that as well. But you can see the mount and the radar unit are almost like, you know, one. There's no wobbling or anything like that. So a very secure mount on the bike.
Back in 2018, I was actually hit by a car, and after that, I have always used a radar, some sort of radar unit, Garmin, Magene, or now Bryton. It's extremely important, in my opinion, to use a radar because you are now notified of a car coming up from behind you, and then you can actually check and see if the car is giving you room or not. I actually did not die because I looked back and I was able to see the car coming towards me, and I was able to slightly get off the road before the car hit me. So I would not go on a road ride without a radar unit, so they are extremely important. Now, as far as this unit here, the quality is top notch. I mean, it definitely comes across as a really well-made product. So the quality is very good. The brightness of the light is very good as well. I don't have a video comparing this with the other units yet, but that will be coming in the future. But I will go ahead and tell you now, the brightness is as bright, if not brighter, than the Garmin unit, which one of my previous videos you could see was a little bit brighter than the Magene. Now, the flashing of the light is really impressive too. It definitely gives a nice burst of flash, especially when a car's coming. You see there, the car's coming and it's really bright. It is really getting their attention. And from this angle of the video, it's hard to see how bright it is. You have to be kind of behind the light to see the brightness. So it is deceiving in this video, but the light definitely gets the attention of the cars. As far as detection of the cars, like I said before, I did have a few issues with the first firmware, giving me several false positives, but it did detect every car coming behind me. Also, it does detect cars a little bit earlier than the Garmin or the Magene units, so it's very impressive with that. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button. That helps me out tremendously in the algorithm. Also share it with any of your friends who may be looking at getting a radar unit, and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out tremendously, and go get one of these units. You will not regret it.